Let's bring in civil rights attorney Lee Merritt for more on all of this. Lee, thank you for being here. I want to start with the cases that you are a part of, because you are on the legal teams for both the Ahmaud Arbery case and Atatiana Jefferson. What made you want to take on these cases?
Well, we live in not only one of the deadliest police cultures in the modern world by the numbers, but hate crimes are on the rise. And we have to have continued push, people speaking out, legal representation for these families to ensure that there's accountability, because until there's accountability, these kind of crimes will continue.
And let's talk about Amir Locke for a second. He died after being shot by Minneapolis police officers while they were executing a no-knock warrant. Now, at his funeral, Al Sharpton pointed out that Amir's name wasn't on the warrant, and he said that black people for too long have been seen as nameless suspects. Can you expand on what he meant by that?
Yeah, there is inherently in our system a bias towards black suspects, and we've seen improper use of force in American culture. Mind you, it's almost without race, because our officers are over-militarized, and we're trained to terminate the threat and use deadly forces in situations that are not necessary. But for members of the African-American community, that threat of lethal force is 2 times higher, according to the data. And often it's because, and as we've seen in Ahmaud Arbery's case that's ongoing, it's because of their skin color alone that in the minds of many, justify the threat.
Now, Ahmaud Arbery was jogging when he was killed. Atatiana Jefferson was playing video games with her young nephew when she was killed. What do you say to critics who look at the Amir Locke case and say he was armed, this was different?
In almost every case, there's some sort of distinguishing factor where they'll say that there was a threat posed by the defendant. The truth is, or the decedent. The truth is, Amir was asleep in his bed. He was under his covers. You're allowed to have a weapon in your home. And for what it's worth, Atatiana Jefferson also had a weapon in her home when she was gunned down by a Fort Worth police officer while playing video games with her nephew. That does not justify the unlawful intrusion, the Fourth Amendment violation of targeting Mr. Amir in this situation. And it's simply, we cannot continue to allow those excuses for justification for use of force to prevent accountability.
Now, we have seen more charges and convictions for officers since George Floyd's murder. Do you think we're seeing more police accountability, and what else needs to change, do you think, to help keep civilians and officers more safe during police encounters?
We've seen more charges and convictions, but unfortunately, in the year following the murder of George Floyd, we've also seen an increase in instances of use of force, and simultaneously, we've also seen an increase in hate crimes. And so, in order to change the culture, it's not enough to protest. It's not enough to even prosecute. We must prosecute successfully. That the consequences must be severe to send a message that this kind of racial targeting, bias, violence, misuse of force will not be tolerated. And we have to take a moment to address the culture in policing in America, understanding that 50 years ago, our policing structure was very different, and we didn't see this amount of use of force. And there were specific policies that led to the sharp increase of not only incarceration, but death. And it's those specific policies that we need to address when remedying. And so part of it is ending things like the no-knock warrant, but also the training that our officers receive and the culture that our officers are released into.
And as we saw from Kira's piece, we're also seeing this rise in hate crimes that don't involve police. So how do we bring those crimes down, racially motivated crimes?
We have to prosecute them as well. I'm a staunch believer that accountability is the key to resolving some of these issues. So we need an active Department of Justice. And right now, at the head of the Civil Rights Division, there's Kristen Clark, who is a civil rights leader and icon for our generation. We need to see her office well-funded, well-staffed, and actively pursuing hate crime litigation like the hate crimes they're pursuing against the men who murdered Ahmaud Arbery. We need to see the same in New York. And we also need additional statutes, because right now, the bar to successfully bring a hate crime charge is extremely high, and we rarely see those charges moving forward.
All right, Lee Merritt, great to have your insight and perspective. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.